In a world so plentiful in media, whether it's movies, music, TV shows, and ultimately video games, it's so plentiful. Like, we have so many games throughout, the decades that we've passed on. We talk about how far we've come in technology and how far we're going with the technology that we have now. So ultimately, we are always asking ourselves, what truly, sets a standard? As in, what will test time and time again against, the ages? What will become something of a legacy or of some sort? I know I'm getting all philosophical, and I don't mean to get all philosophical with this, but ultimately, what will challenge our notion of what boundaries we can push? And nowadays, we have to be honest. Video games have gone way out of its way and become something more. It is no longer just a world of video games. It's video games are becoming at least, this sort of new form of media, a type of media that feels like a TV show or feels like a movie, so much so that movies now are being created based on modern video games. A great example is The Last of Us. A great example of that, comes down to really how well structured stories are becoming to then ultimately become forms of media that you could just watch and not have to play through. Even God of War, which is now soon to become a series and ultimately become this like really incredible project. And a while back there were talks of other video games becoming series in cahoots with PlayStation. And funny enough, now that we are on the topic of PlayStation, I think as of recently, last year I actually bought a PS5, and I've been experiencing a lot of great games that came out maybe 2 or 3 years ago that I didn't get to play, and ultimately now I'm actually getting the chance of getting around to it and playing those games. And one game that came out 3 years ago that now I finally get a chance to play and actually played through the entire campaign and played a lot of side quests. I do have to say that Horizon Forbidden West will literally stand the test of time, when it comes to storytelling, graphics, and ultimately, the legacy it leaves behind. Now, most people would be saying like, oh, but this game is 3 years old. Why are you going back to talking about a game that's 3 years old? Well, I think that it's important for us to go back and think about like how far video games have come. Now, sure, I could make an entire video talking about the history of gaming and graphics and storytelling, and ultimately I know you guys would be like, okay, fine, he's just gonna keep yapping, but I don't want to do that. I want to cover just Horizon Forbidden West, which came out 3 years ago, to pretty great success. I mean, all the reviews were great, and I think that at the time, it stood the test of time. It really did well. I mean, let's be honest, it's been 3 years, and a lot of people have been pointing out differences in newer games and how much we've advanced technology, but let's be honest, 3 years isn't that huge in terms of time, but with all the new technology that's coming out, I can only imagine where the future of a game like this, of like the Horizon series, is going, specifically with AI and how far we're willing to push the boundaries of storytelling. Now, Horizon Forbidden West has got to be one of the most well-detailed games I've ever played. It stands on the shoulders of a lot of different games as well. It stands on the shoulders of games like Uncharted and also God of War, which I just recently finished playing, God of War Ragnarok, which is this absolutely beautifully constructed game. I mean, like, there's just no words to describe the feeling of playing a game which the graphics just complement what you're seeing. It just complements everything else around you. And I mean, everything from like lush foliage to particle physics that play around with the detailing. Water physics are amazing, being able to dive underwater, and explore these large areas. Things that, let's be honest, like 10 years ago, with the PS3, you could do that. You could possibly do some underwater section moments like that, but they were never going to be this detailed. They were never going to be this lush and well crafted, and ultimately Horizon Forbidden West is able to capture the vastness of this world and really dig deep into the details that you can have. I mean, just going into photo mode and just going close to Aloy's face is just absolutely amazing, because you actually see the little wrinkles and details in her face, and it's just mind-blowing. And storytelling is a big deal in this game, specifically because typically when I play these games, one thing always comes up in my mind, and that is, am I really supposed to be doing these side missions? Are the side quests worth doing? Is there anything special about this? And ultimately, playing through this game has shown me that depending on what game you're playing, and depending on what kind of experience you're looking for, this game really does side quests the right way. And ultimately what I mean by that is that the structure of these side quests are amazing. You get to do side quests that feel like you're doing something with purpose. Typically, a side quest is just a fetch quest. Oh, go do this, cover that, part of the story, and then come back and whatever. No. Each individual side quest feels like it has purpose. Like you are ultimately truly helping somebody. You're truly covering an area of the story that wouldn't be covered on the main quest, yet the missions feel like main quest objectives. It has all the right, story structures, the moments, the emotions that you would feel from those moments, trying to help somebody out. And you actually feel a certain connection to these characters, and ultimately makes you want to go and do more. And that's something that really impresses me, because if I were to do it with any other game, ultimately it would just be like something really short, and you just need to pick this up and drop it off, or you just need to grab this and take this to somebody. No. This game elevates that. It really creates a truly cinematic experience through the storytelling that this game designs, and really just is all impressive. I mean, I don't even know what words to use other than just absolute awe when it comes to the story structure in this game. And that story structure also helps out a lot the cast. The cast of this game is just mind-blowing. As a matter of fact, there are two people in this cast that I had no idea were even in this game or played any role at all in Horizon, and this just blew my mind. But let's first start off with the obvious. Ashley Birch. She's Aloy. She plays this character in an incredible way, with such veracity, such conviction, someone who, she has no way of like taking people down or pushing people down or any in any sort of way. She stands up for what she believes in. That is a character that typically you see in films, but the writing here really helps this character shine. Aloy really does shine. And seeing her growth from Horizon Zero Dawn to now is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now, another person that we see in this, game, although with a much smaller role, is Lance Reddick, which, unfortunately, I think this was probably one of his final performances before he passed away, and he does phenomenal in this game as well, just like he did in the first game. Seeing him here is fantastic. I have heard that there is a memorial to Lance Reddick in the game. I have yet to find that memorial. So when I do, I'll probably, take a picture and save that, because it's really cool what he was able to accomplish in this game. Even though it's a small part, you feel, his like sleazy slyness sort of, characteristics. He's not this, cookie cutter type character. He is a very much a character that is trying to play to his own benefit, and I really love seeing Silence this character here. And I don't know if they ever do a future game. I don't know if they were going to recast somebody to play Silence, but if they do, we'll see. Ultimately, Silence uses the likeness of Lance Reddick, so I don't know how they would tackle this, but it is going to be a very interesting thing to see. I don't know if they're going to kill off that character, but ultimately, I think he did a fantastic job, specifically being one of those final performances. Now, for me, the two shocking ones that I really have to say, I had no idea voice these characters until now. I'm like, oh, these are the people that actually voice these characters. First off, Regala in this game, who is the antagonist. I would say she is the secondary antagonist of this game. It's not, the Zeniths. The Zeniths are saying, like, we can say that that's the primary. The primary antagonist of this game are the Zeniths, but the secondary antagonist being Regala, which is ultimately played by Angela Bassett. I had no clue that it was Angela Bassett that was actually doing a voice in this game, which blows my mind even more now that I even think of it. Like, her performance, although small, fantastic as well. Truly a character that, albeit an antagonist, full of conviction in willing to, take down anybody that comes even close to her. So I really do think Angela Bassett blew like everything out of proportion in this thing, in a great way. She blew it out of the ballpark with this performance. So even though it's small, fantastic. Now, the second person that I was just absolutely shocked about that is in this game, which is Tilda Vander... What is her name again? Tilda Vandermeer. Big name, really kind of like complicated to remember, but Tilda in this game is played by Carrie-Anne Moss. Like, what? Like, Carrie-Anne Moss is doing this voice in this game. Honestly, I did not connect one person to the other. Like, the voice to the character did not connect whatsoever. So seeing that, play out, seeing this character that just pops up to help Aloy in the story, and then ultimately finding out that it's Carrie-Anne Moss playing her is just, again, mind-blowing. Like, the people that they're able to get to play roles in this game, absolutely mind-blowing. And, on that thought, like, due to the story structure and being a fan of Horizon, I would like to suggest to the developers that if you ever come around to making a series, maybe, just maybe, you could possibly maybe have someone play Tilda in a future project, and that somebody could maybe possibly be Genevieve O'Reilly, who plays Mon Mothma in Andor. She would play this character perfectly, even though the likeness is very on point. She would play this character fantastic. That's it. That's just my 2 cents. Hopefully that explains a lot. But nonetheless, these are our characters and our performers who are just absolutely amazing. And we cannot forget to talk about one of the most essential parts in what makes this game incredible, and that's the soundtrack. The score that is being played throughout this game is just absolutely mind-blowingly good. When action hits, you feel the action beats. When you feel a sense of calm, you feel that through the music as well. The score really creates a story in and of itself through what we are experiencing. And I think it's such an essential part, even of movies. A score is essential, but when it comes to games and you playing through a game in a moment in time, it really does make you think, okay, this is next level. This is pushing boundaries that most people would never stop to think about, but it's really pushing boundaries when it comes to video games, media as a whole. I think that Forbidden West is capable of pushing everything that they did well in the first game even further, and I can only imagine where they're going from here. Like, just think about it. If it's already as good as it is now, imagine how it's going to be maybe 3 or 4 years down the line when we get a sequel to this game. And when we do, I will be very, very happy to invest in that game when the time comes. So to me, I think this game is just absolutely amazing. It defies what we understand as like story structures, as storytelling in video games. I mean, we have played games now since maybe the PS3. I remember playing Uncharted and just seeing that story play out, pushing the boundary even further than it was in the PS2, and then on the PS3 we see this graphical bump which just blows our minds, and then the PS4 comes around and pushes the boundary even further, and now with the PS5 it has been pushed even further than we could have expected. And I feel so I feel kind of out of place thinking that kids that now are going to be growing up with the PS5, and me being somebody who grew up with the PS2, it really does boggle my mind into thinking like, okay, kids nowadays are going to be growing up with games like Horizon Forbidden West or Uncharted or, God of War, which are just cinematic experiences that are interactive and just push every possible boundary known to man. And to think that they're going to be growing up now with this, and ultimately 10 years down the line, we might be in a completely different era of video games, one which we will not be able to tell the difference between live action and, physical digital human beings. It continues to grow, and this game is an absolute example of that, even though it's already 3 years old, which isn't that long a time, but still 3 years ago this game was released, and it's still standing the test of time. So I cannot wait to see what is next, not only for this game but for the future of gaming. Now, if you think the same as I do, that this game is completely breaking boundaries and is being an absolute massive success, even though it is now 3 years old, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you think that games like Horizon should get even more recognition for its pushing the boundaries of video games and storytelling? Do you think that the future of media as a whole, whether it be TV or movies, are truly going to be an amalgamation of video game aspects and movie aspects? And how well do you think that these two are going to play with each other? I want to hear from you. I want to understand your thoughts, your opinions on the subject of not only the future of gaming, but what do you think of Horizon Forbidden West? Did you play it? Did you like it? Are you excited for the next installment of Horizon? As a reminder, the end of this game, they tease on what's next, on what is coming to Earth, with the whole Nemesis situation. So ultimately, this is going to be a very big push of a game, a big, blockbuster type game. And I want to hear from you. What do you think the next game is going to be like? Are you excited to see a future in the world of Horizon? And if you are, put that in the comments below. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when new videos go live on this channel. And thank you so much for watching this video. And I'll see you in the next video.
Scrolling through YouTube, same old routine, then bam, movie savant, what a scene. Trivia bombshells dropping knowledge like rain. Forget the dishes, gotta watch it again. Movie buffs unite, savants to place. Subscribe and hit the bell, don't leave a trace. Next level knowledge keeps you in the loop. Savants got the scoop, ain't nothing to recoup.